Hello everyone and welcome back to my Skillshop project series. In this task 3 video, I will explain how I program the user sign-in process. So, in my previous video, I have already explained how I program the user sign-up process including input validation. So, in this video, I will focus mainly on the authentication process, the JavaScript validation, regular expressions, Ajax communication, PHP backend processing. So let's start by understanding how the entire login flow works. Before jumping into the code, let me explain the full process logically. When a user logins, user enters the email and the password. JavaScript validates then the inputs. Email format is checked using regular expressions. Then the data is sent to the server using Ajax. And then the PHP receives the data, PHP validates again, the server-side validation, and after that the database is queried using a prepared statement. Then the password is verified using password verify. So then if it is correct, a session is created. And then the server sends back success. Then only you can see the JavaScript redirects the user to the home when I click on the button sign in. So the login involves both client side and the server side validation. So now let's break down it step by step. Okay, as you can see in the index.php file, I have the sign in form, and over here you can see that I have the button sign in. So over here I have given the button type that prevents the normal form submission. Instead we manually control submission using JavaScript, and over here I have given a on click saying sign in that triggers the sign in function. So that means the entire login process starts from this function. Okay, so now let's go to the most important function, which is function sign in. So this function runs when the sign in button is clicked. And for the first part, we will get the input values by using document.getElementById, which accesses the HTML input, and the dot value means that it extracts what the user typed. Now these values then are stored in variables. We have the variable email, password, remember me, and the error message. So over here the error message is a container. So this means that it selects the message div and then it removes the hidden class so we can show messages dynamically. So this means that it allows us to show validation errors without refreshing the page. Next we have the client-side validation. This is the validation logic. So we have in a if-else structure the validating email and the password. So this checks whether the field is empty or not. Now let me explain why is this important. It's because when sending empty data to the server, it wastes the server resources and it is also a bad user experience. So to do that, we can stop the process immediately if the fields are empty. For the next part, we have to validate the email. So before doing that, we have to go to the function validate email where we can validate the email. So here we have used a regular expression. So what is a regular expression? A regular expression is simply known as regex, which means it's a pattern used to match text. So it is used to validate email, validate passwords, check formats, and extract data. So it means that it works like a filter. You can see there is a pattern over here, and after that we have typed return email regex dot test inside brackets sing email. So this means that we have used a test method which returns true if the pattern matches, and then returns false if it doesn't, and then it returns false if it doesn't. So this means if the email format is correct, it returns true. Okay, now we will move on to the Ajax part. So if the validation passes, we send the data to the server. So first we will create a form data. This form data stores data in the key value format, form.append email and the value. Then it behaves like a form submission but without reloading the page. And next we will create the XML HTTP request, which means this creates an AJAX request object. So AJAX allows communication with the server without refreshing the page. And in the next step we will write the r dot variable dot onReady state change, which is assigned to a function. So this means that this function runs every time the request state changes. So as you can see in the if structure, we have r dot ready state that is equal to 4. That means there are 4 steps, but actually it starts with 0. So it means that data is unsent, and then the first step is opened, and second one is headers received, and 3 is loading, and the 4th step is done. Then we will check if the ready state, that means the request, is fully completed. Next we will go to the HTTP status, saying that inside if structure again. So it means that 200 means that it is a successful HTTP request. So if not, if something went wrong, if not 200, then that means something went wrong with the server. After checking the server response, again in the if else structure we have r.response text that is assigned to success. So that means if the server sends an plain text, then if the response is success, when it is successful, it directs the user within the duration of 2 seconds to the other page, home.php. Okay, now we will send the request. So first we have r.open, which means over here we have the post, which means that it secures the data sending, and then the login process.php, which means to the backend file, and then check if this is true or not. And then we have send form, which means it sends the form data. Now the request goes to the server. Now we will move on to the PHP backend process. So as you can see here, now the request goes to the server. So here the login process.php starts executing. At the top of the page, inside a PHP function, inside a PHP we have the session start. So this means that it starts or resumes a session. So without this we cannot store login information. And next we will receive the post data using what the JavaScript sent. So JavaScript has sent the email, the password, and the remember me. Okay, now we will move on to the validation. So over here, even though we validated in the JavaScript, we have to validate it again in the backend process, because JavaScript can be disabled or manipulated. So which means the server-side validation is mandatory. So over here, first we have validated our email, and if it is empty, it echoes the message, please enter your email address. And then another if else statement, we have to validate if the entered email is valid or not. So this is a PHP built-in email validator, filter_validate email, and if it is invalid, it returns false, echoing the invalid email address. In another else if statement, we have asked if the password is empty, then please, and then it echoes, please enter your password. Else, so if all these methods are true, like we have entered our email and the password correctly, then it shows takes us to the database where we have used where we search the database for the users information. So over here inside prepare statement, we have selected the ID, the first name, the last name, the email, the password hash, active account type ID from the user table, where email, here it uses the which email that we have given. So this means that it is, so over here this question mark means that the email is secured. And next we will verify our password. So to do that, we have used a password hash. So this means when the user is signed up, the password was hashed using password hash. So hashing means that it converts password into unreadable format and it cannot be reversed. Now when the password verify compares if the password is a plain password or a hashed password. Now the password verify compares whether the password is plain and if it's also hashed. So if they both match, then it returns true. If it's true, it takes us to the session creation. So over here we have saved our user ID, username and user email, the account type ID, the logged ID. So that means this session variable store users information on the server, and now the user is authenticated. And if all these methods are true, then it echoes success. Now in this video I have explained the complete user sign-in and programming process of my Skillshop project. So in this task I have explained the login flow, the JavaScript validation, regular expressions in detail, Ajax communication, PHP backend validation, prepared statements, password verification, session creation. So this means that it ensures secure and efficient authentication without reloading the page. Thank you for watching my video and see you in the next task video.